Marvel's Doctor Strange is a household name today. He's played by Benedict Cumberbatch, famous for Sherlock, Star Trek, Into Darkness, and The Grinch. In fact, Marvel's planning to do a spin-off called Strange Academy that won't include Strange for some reason. Looks like Marvel's getting their own Harry Potter, what with less transphobia, hopefully. But there was a time where Doctor Strange was solely a niche comic book character. There have been attempts to adapt the character in the past. Most people will probably remember some of his appearances in the 90s cartoons. There's also a laughable TV movie featuring what many fans call Pimp Strange. But there was another attempt to get Strange adapted. This time by Full Moon Pictures. They acquired the rights to Doctor Strange, but pre-production went on so long they just ran out. Whoopsies. But not willing to let all that pre-production go to waste, they rejiggered the movie. They changed some names around, some places, turned it into an R-rated movie starring the famous Jeffrey Combs. This straight-to-DVD feature is Doctor Mordrid, Master of the Unknown. What's he the master of? It's unknown. We start off with a look at Dr. Mordrid's lair, so to speak, full of ancient books and weird gadgets. Gotta say, for a direct-to-video knockoff, this set and score is pretty good. I could easily see all this fitting in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. So real quick, the credits say, based on an original idea by Charles Band. Now that's a lie for a couple of reasons we'll get into after the movie. Mordrid speaks to a pair of giant floating eyes named the Monitor, which is probably a holdover from Marvel's Watchers. It warned the Death's Head is coming. And fitting to his name, the Monitor just ain't gonna do anything about it. Thanks, buddy. We cut over to Rio de Janeiro. A bank truck driver asks his friend for a cigarette and gets blasted in the back. That is one hell of a nicotine addiction. Our villain drives up to the scene in janky slow motion for some reason. Chris Hemsworth, you're in the wrong movie, boyo. He spills some magic cappuccino over the lockboxes, which teleports them away, and then makes the goon off himself. Classic evildoer move. Beyond just magic stuff, he's got these multiple monitors set to different news stations, showing stuff around the world. Now, I can't help but think this is a nod to Watchmen's Ozymandias. The elderly are arguing in the hallway over noise complaints. They wrangle in Miss Samantha Hunt to settle the argument, because she's working with the police. But apparently she's just a consultant and tells them both to fuck off or she'll call the real police. Cue some awkward flirting between Mordrid and Sam.
I say 100 years ago, New York was a nice place to live.
It was.
It was?
I mean...
But Sam just keeps yapping, so Mordrid uses his amulet and oh my god, he's a communist!
Comrade, let's show these capitalist pigs who's boss!
A light flashes and Mordrid disappears. So they explain this a little later, but basically there's a little button on the amulet, and when you press it, you get a flash of light, and it freezes people in place, and then you can kind of just scurry out of the way. It's like a flashbang grenade with more flash and less bang. From his TVs, Mordrid hears about the theft of platinum, and decides to consult the scrolls. You have to remember this is way before Google or DuckDuckGo for some of my more insidious fans. Mordrid tells his pet raven Edgar, this is the first sign. And it's at this point I had to wonder, how the heck did you get all this stuff inside of a dinky New York apartment? Sure, the easy answer is magic, but it's got like an electronic keypad and everything. Someone had to build this. This can't be cheap. At work, Sam is poorly flirted at by Captain Gigajaw.
So why don't you talk to your chief about giving his special consultants a raise?
I was thinking more about dinner.
I know what you were thinking, it shows. Gotta go, I'm late.
Later, she goes to Mordrid's lecture on criminal minds and the supernatural. He talks about how the moon can make people crazy. I'm not sure what Mordrid's job is. He seems to be some kind of researcher or lecturer, not really a professor. Maybe he just makes bootleg TED Talks. I gotta say, I do appreciate that the movie pulls from a lot of real-world mysticism and beliefs, rather than just making up some hooey. There's a lot of talk about, like, alchemy and more esoteric practices in ancient civilizations. Mordrid checks the time on his pocket watch, and we get a glimpse of an old picture with him and another woman, which I guess is implied to be his wife, but Don't worry about any of this, it doesn't matter to the story. We hear about another crime, this time a diamond theft, similar to the first one we saw. This seems to be the second sign. Mordrid has a cloak just like Doctor Strange, but his outfit is blue and yellow, which makes him completely legally distinct from Doctor Strange. Mordrid contacts the Monitor again, who tells him the Death's Head has escaped, and he must cross over to deal with it. Cross over to where? Honestly, I don't really know. It's some kind of medieval castle floating in space. We then meet with the appropriately named Gunner, a friend of Mordred's who seemed to have been guarding the Death's Head when it escaped. It ripped out his eyes, so now we're stuck looking at his gross, scabby holes.
Eye holes. Get 'em today.
Despite this, Gunner is valiantly standing guard, keeping Death's Head's demon horde trapped in a Soviet sewage pipe. Turns out the Death's Head name is Cabal. I have no idea why they call him the Death's Head, and they never refer to him as such for the rest of the movie. Maybe someone forgot to edit the final draft? I don't know, it seems to be a little bit strange. It's revealed Mordrid has been on Earth for 100 years, sent there by Monitor to guard against Cabal's prophesized escape. Maybe they should have just killed this guy. Mordrid heals Gunner's scabby eyes and heads back to his apartment. I'm a comic creator, and recently I launched the Kickstarter campaign for the second issue of my series, Brer Rabbit in the Jazz Age. It follows a trickster sleuth battling the Ku Klux Klan in the 1920s. He's a shaman who channels the spirit of the African-American folklore legend, Brer Rabbit. And turns out the Klan has some of their own magics now. So if you really want to support an independent comic creator, help me out by pledging on Kickstarter today. Back to the video. So before Mordrid left, the light of the teleportation set his books on fire, which he just leaves. Now this is bad, because time moves slower in the other realm, so apparently there's just been a fire burning in there for weeks. Feeling the heat from Mordred's door, Hunt calls the fire department, but Mordrid arrives just in time to show there is no fire, and Hunt gets in legal trouble for making a false call.
Calling in a false alarm's against the law, lady. You'll be hearing from us.
Mordrid the hero, everybody. To make up for it, Mordrid invites Sam into his lair.
Disgusting.
Cut to some dirty punks in a church who summon Cabal, who apparently is already a well-known evil, or contacted them, and oh shit, what an entrance! That is badass. Wait, why did you teleport in? You should have leapt through the window or something. Totally wrong, docking points for this.
Jesus Christ.
Not quite. Back at the pad, Sam finds her rent check in Mordred's apartment, and turns out Mordrid is the landlord. Mamma mia, comrade, you've fallen to capitalist propaganda.
Hey, we were cast out of heaven, right?
That we were.
So is Cabal a fallen angel, one of the dudes that sided with Satan? Or is he just gassing himself up? We get some studio-mandated sexy time, which I can't show much of here, but we actually get 2 pair of boobas. I think his are bigger than hers. The girl offers herself to Cabal, and it's said later her body was found drained of blood. So he's a vampire? I can't make heads or tails of this. Giga Jaw's on the murder case, and shows Sam the murder scene, which featured the same sigil that appeared on Mordred's amulet. Meanwhile, Mordrid is shoving crystal daggers into himself, possibly to satisfy some sort of fetish. Then Cabal arrives as a spirit to taunt Mordrid.
The crystals of Endor. It will take more than that.
Endor, Star Wars, Doctor Strange. Does this movie have any original content? After all this, the police arrest Mordrid, because apparently Sam ratted on him. What a terrible ally. ACAB. Giga Jaw interrogates Mordrid.
But my police training is telling me that you're full of shit.
I think you better go back to the academy, boyo. Sam is allowed to talk to Mordrid. He Houdinis out of the cuffs and hits Sam with a lore dump. Mordrid and Cabal were sorcerer brothers, born in another dimension. But while Mordrid was good, Cabal was evil. He teams up with the Sons of Belial, which are apparently those demons in the communist sewers. To stop Cabal, Mordrid locked him in the cosmic Dark Soul Castle for hundreds of years. Cabal casts a spell on Adrian to make him invincible for 12 hours and sends him to steal some diamonds. And instead he just dances around in a parking lot, and then a police officer shows up, he Molotovs the car, takes a bullet, and then just lets himself get arrested, taken to the same place as Mordrid.
We know every move you take now. You can't stop us.
Sam steals back the amulet and uses it to bust out Mordrid, who then pretends to take her hostage to alleviate her of any wrongdoing. Mordrid astral projects to the Cosmopolitan Museum, where Cabal finds the final piece he needs, the Philosopher's Stone. Wild they just have that thing sitting in a museum. This thing makes gold. You're telling me the powers that be aren't gonna try and use this thing? At the museum, Cabal makes a comment implying he saw dinosaurs in person. But, based on what Mordrid said, he's only been on Earth for about 100 years, so I don't get this timeline at all. Fun fact, this stone tablet is made of styrofoam, so good acting here. He performs some alchemy to free his demon army from the magic sewer. He calls them his sons, but I thought they were the sons of Belial? Is he Belial? This don't make no damn sense. Cabal animates the T-Rex skeleton with some sick stop-motion animation, and I'm pretty sure it kills one of the guards while Mordrid just stands there. Mordrid animates a mastodon skeleton, and we get some bone-on-bone action. Honestly, this is the best part of the movie. It's pretty cool. Cabal's spell activates, releasing the sewer demons. But he immediately gets impaled by the mastodon, so the sewer closes with weird magic bullet sound effects. This is the wrong noise for magic closing a sewer. Gunnar thinks he did something, so that's nice. Adrian arrives at the park and tries to stab Sam. Mordrid arrives just in time to freeze Adrian, and Sam Rochambeaus him. Monitor appears at last. Thanks for the help, buddy.
You have revealed too much to the mortals. Your capture will jeopardize all future missions. I command you to the other side.
Sam pleads to go with Anton, but he says she can't follow him. So he leaves Edgar in her care and disappears, ending their love story. Officer Gigajaw returns just as Adrian unfreezes. Not knowing the spell wore off.
Sorry, Adrian.
Adrian attacks, and Gigajaw shoots him in the leg instead of the chest, which is by far the most unrealistic part of the movie. We skip ahead to Sam and Edgar spending a lonely Christmas together. This is a real nitpick, but how did she get in without knowing the code to the door? That would have been really awkward if Sam just couldn't get back in and Edgar dies of starvation. Whoops. Mordrid then reappears, saying he'll take Sam along next time, and then enjoy a happy Christmas together. The end. So did the monitor just lie? Mordrid defied the monitor? What was the point of that entire scene? Just to, mess with Sam? Just to gaslight her a little bit so that Mordrid could make a romantic entrance? Mordrid the hero lets the cops sue you, watches you as you get eaten, and gaslights you for months. Dr. Mordrid is a lot of cheesy fun if you like that sort of thing. The sets and costumes are really cool. Mordred's apartment is packed, chaotic, but feels decently lived in. And for a direct-to-video movie, the soundtrack is almost on par with theatrical films of the time. My biggest gripe with this movie is it doesn't really explain who Mordrid and Cabal are, what they are, or how exactly they got into the whole sorcerer business. They're from another dimension, and somehow got magic amulets that turned them into sorcerers, but Cabal says he was cast out of heaven, and then there's the blood draining thing, and he's older than the dinosaurs, and he teams up with the sons of Belial, but he also calls them his children, and he's called the Death's Head. There's a whole chunk of lore that the writers seem to just forget to put in. We also don't get any explanation of how or when the monitor came into Mordred's life, or why Mordrid takes orders from it. Seems like something that should have been a part of his childhood. So yeah, there's a lot of holes here that were probably going to be patched up in the planned sequels. But the movie sold worse than even the more recent Marvel flops, so those were just tossed in the dumpster. Nowadays, Mordrid is a bit of a cult classic. It was ripped on in the Mystery Science Theater reboot, and it tends to pop up on Roku channels focused on the low budget and strange. I found it on Eternal Family, which is an absolute haven for foreign animation, weirdo movies, and even video game playthroughs. I highly suggest checking it out. And I said that Mordrid is a knockoff of Doctor Strange, which is not a stretch of the imagination, but that actually might not be true. Director Charles Band had a relationship with the godfather of comics, Jack Kirby. He was a big fan of Kirby's work and asked him to develop some concepts for him. And one of those was Mr. Mortalis, a sorcerer who defended humanity with his half-human, half-computer partner, Eggy. What? Eventually, Band retooled the character and Dr. Mordrid came to be. The sources I've gone through all have different variations on the story, so it's unclear exactly how much is true and how much is unknown. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more comics content. Be sure to pledge to my Kickstarter in order to help an indie comic creator bring his project to life. I recently started up a channel Discord, so join that and get in on some discussions. I have a Patreon where you can throw me a few bones to help me out. And finally, keep on reading.